All right, this might be one of the most confusing lessons algebraically for the entire year. Don't freak out though. Honestly, just take your time, think about it a little bit. Don't overthink it. It's going to be using a method called substitution. So this looks quite intense here. But what we're going to do is we're going to notice that the x minus 2 and x minus 2, if we replace it, let's just call it u. We'll say that u equals x minus 2. So what am I doing here? I'm going to replace the u, or the x minus 2 with a u. If I can write x minus 2 in a way that I'm happy with it. That 2 is okay, but I don't like the minus. That's good enough. So what I'm going to do is take the x minus 2's and I'm going to switch them out with a u. So these are still x minus 2's. We're just going to call it a u. It looks a little friendlier. Why would I do that? Because this here is something we can factor. If we ignore that, what we did over there. So what multiplies a 5 and adds a negative 6 would be negative 3 and negative 2. So this becomes u minus 3, u minus 2 equals 0. So u is going to equal two things here. Right? What's going to make the equation true? Well, 3 if u was 3 and if u was 2. So if u is 3 and if u equals 2, that's what makes it true. Problem is, we want x to equal something. We want to figure out what does x equal. Well, we know that u is x minus 3, right? Or x minus 2. So why don't I take that and plug it back in for the u? So x minus 2 equals 3. X minus 2 equals 2. And then if we solve for x, not u, it's x now. X equals 5 and x equals 4. I think we just have to find one of the values, so it'd be 5. And worst case, you could put this into Desmos. Once again, find out what your solution is. And that'd be a quick and easy way. This one's really similar, so we're going to do that u substitution. This time u is going to equal x squared minus 2. So let's go ahead and do our substitution. U squared minus 10u plus 21 equals 0. So then that factors a u minus 7, u minus 3 equals 0. So u equals 7 and u equals 3. In other words, x squared minus 2 equals 7 and x squared minus 2 equals 3. Because remember, u was x squared minus 2 to begin with. Then we just solve for x. Add 2, x squared equals 9. Square root both sides, and x equals plus or minus 3. Or square root both sides here, and x equals plus or minus the square root of 5. So you just have to put in one of those values, which is positive 3, and that'll be fine. So those are the basic ones. Let's look at something, and even though these look a little bit easier, let's take a look at one of these. We have to change the form a little more because it doesn't quite look as nice like a quadratic. So I'm going to look at this side. I'm going to see if I can factor that out. And I'm looking at, 3x minus 2 is going to possibly be our u. So we have 3x minus 2 squared minus 4 equals, and then they both have a 3 in common. So I'll bring that 3 out front, and we'll be left with 3x minus 2. So this right here is the same as that. Now, if I substitute u in, let's just say u equals 3x minus 2, then we'll have u squared minus 4 equals 3u. Now, remember, the zero product property only works if it equals 0. So let's move this over here by subtracting it. So you get u squared minus 3u minus 4 equals 0. And then if we do the diamond method and factor, what multiplies to negative 4 and adds to negative 3 would be negative 4 and positive 1. So we'll have u minus 4, u plus 1 equals 0. So u equals 4 and u equals negative 1. Substitute the 3x minus 2 in for the u. Solve for x. And that's exactly what's going to happen in this problem over here. You can factor out a 5, you'll get 4x minus 1, move it over to the other side. Same thing here, factor out a 2, move it over to the other side. I'll just go ahead and go over this one real quick. So I'm going to factor out a 2 that's in common for those. So we'll have 2x minus 3 squared equals 2 times 2x minus 3. So we'll let u equal the 2x minus 3. So now it becomes u squared equals 2u. Let me line up the equal sign. And then we need it to equal 0 in order to use that zero product property. So we'll move that 2u over here to the left side. U squared minus 2u equals 0. Factor out a u, because they both have a u in common. You get u times u minus 2 equals 0. So u equals 0 and u equals 2, right? Those will be the two zeros, 0 and positive 2. And set 2x minus 3 equal to both of those. And solve both those little equations there. Looks quite long. This is where really everything's going on at, though. Everything else is just basic algebra to solve the rest.